Hello and welcome to CIA News Analysis. Tomorrow's crypto news today. In our first couple of articles today, we're again going to see the hypocrisy coming out of central banks. In our first article, European finance regulators call for bloc-wide crypto rules. Two major European regulators have separately called for cryptocurrency and ICO rules at the EU or European Union level. Firstly, the European Banking Authority, or the EBA, a regulatory agency of the EU, has urged the European Commission to examine whether unified crypto rules are needed across the region. So they're calling for rules. And in our next article, we see that the European Banking Authority, the EBA, report urges steady approach to cryptocurrency regulation. They say that the EBA recommends that the European Commission carry out further analysis to determine the appropriate EU-level response. And then finally, we see from Ukraine, overregulation prevents crypto development, says central bank official. Overregulation in Ukraine is reportedly preventing the cryptocurrency industry from evolving in the country. An official of the Ukrainian central bank told his local crypto news outlet. So we can see the hypocrisy coming from the banks. First, we see them over here calling for block-wide crypto rules. Then they come out and they say we need to take a steady approach to this. And then they come over here and they got another central banker saying, oh, too much regulation over here. It's too much. You want block-wide regulation? You know, you got to do more than take a steady approach. You got to back off. You're over-regulating. And it's just unbelievable, the lie that the central banks are pushing. They're the ones who finance this new inflationary system to replace the inflationary debt-based system, which is failing right now. And this deflationary system is going to take over the world by storm, and it's all going to really depend on how fast things get moving. We'll take a look at that in our last article. But first, I want to talk about crypto trailblazer Nick Szabo. Central banks could turn to crypto to support reserves. If you ever considered him an anarchist or cypherpunk, you might have to reconsider now, because here we see him pushing the idea of the institutional takeover of Bitcoin, the theological Bilderberg takeover of Bitcoin, which is now Bitcoin Core, and we see what they push right here, digital gold. Not peer-to-peer currency, digital gold. And he's saying, oh, the central banks, they could turn crypto to support their reserves. Here you go. Cryptocurrency pioneer Nick Szabo has urged that central banks could soon turn to cryptocurrencies to shore up their reserves. He says there's going to be some situations where a central bank can't trust a foreign central bank or government with their bonds, for example. One solution that's been developed is to have the Swiss government hold it for you. That's not a trust-minimized solution. The Swiss government itself is subject to political pressures, and so a more trust-minimized solution is cryptocurrency. Yes, the banks need to trust in the code as much as we do. Trust in the code. Trust in the code. Hey, they're just as vulnerable as we are. They don't have that much power. It's unbelievable how he's working with them and basically inviting them into the system, almost like a trailblazer, somebody who was there from the beginning, is now opening the door for the banks to come in and with open arms saying, yeah, come on in, use Bitcoin as your reserves, right? It's just all about the dollar signs. It's all about the money. Well, if he knew in the long run that they were going to combine this system with the law and set up a complete control system that's not going to be decentralized, that's not going to promote liberalism and anarchy, then perhaps he wouldn't be taking this approach. But you're trusting the wolf in the sheep's clothing. You're trusting the banks, and that's the last thing you want to do. The French have the right idea about it. We see in our last article, the France's Yellow Vest planned bank run to scare state without violence. Now, the French grassroots political movement, the Yellow Vest, is planning a bank run similar to Bitcoin's proof of keys. Now, dubbed the collector's referendum, the latest demonstration by the movement calls on supporters to withdraw all their savings and other deposited cash from financial institutions on Saturday. Now, this could be a really big deal. This is this Saturday. We don't know how much Deutsche Bank, which is basically the bank that holds the whole European Union together and funds that whole system. We don't know how much they have invested in France. We don't know how much they have money there. We know they're using fractional reserves, so they can really only cover 5% of deposits. If people really go and take out their money, this could cause a domino effect in the entire banking system in the European Union, and it could also splinter to our banking system, the UK. It could be a worldwide effect we could see because the amount of money that would have to be moved to cover these things. Surely it wouldn't be done, and you would find something similar that happened in Greece, hopefully they wouldn't be doing bail-ins, but they would lock funds, they would limit ATMs, they would limit the amount of cash that you're supposed to have, because to their fractional reserve policies, they really only have 5% of deposits, and they're able to maybe even 10% of deposits, depending on the laws of the country, and then they're able to write out loans. So most of your money in the bank is just 0 and 1s. It's not being held in cash in a vault. And if anybody wants to get that cash at the same time, then you have a problem. What's that remind you of? That's called a Ponzi scheme. That's how the Ponzi scheme works, right? As long as you have people coming in, you always have money to give out. But when everybody comes back at first, you don't have enough money to give out. Ponzi scheme. The world's getting crazy. Thank you for joining us on CIA News Analysis, and thank you for your support.